Hello and welcome to this managerial accounting video where we will be preparing a direct materials purchases budget. We'll be using the problem shown on the screen, which is exercise 514 in the managerial accounting textbook by Davis and Davis, 2nd edition. If you don't have the data handy, you might pause the video and print the screen. So let's take a look at what our requirements are here. Here's a company that has a new window cleaner, and the cleaner requires two ingredients, the AM972 and CA38. They give us our budgeted production for the upcoming year. Let's go down to required. They want us to prepare McKinsey's AM972 purchases budget for the coming year. Alright, so we're given information about two different direct materials ingredients, but we only really need one for our budget. So let's change the color of the font here, or you could highlight or underline, so that we only find the information about AM972 because we're not interested in CA38. Alright, so each gallon of window cleaner requires 100 ounces of AM972. The other thing they tell us here, an ounce of AM972 costs 15 cents. Also, McKinsey requires ending inventory equal to 20% of the next quarter's production needs. And finally, their beginning inventory is going to be 80,000 ounces of AM972. All right, so let's get started. We're going to make a heading. Call this McKinsey Chemicals Direct Materials Purchases Budget. And for the upcoming year. Okay, so we're going to set this up by quarter. So let's call this first, I'm just going to put Q, first quarter, second, third, and fourth. And then this will be year. And over here we're going to have a little bit of next year's information that we're going to need. We'll just say first quarter next. Okay? All right. So our direct materials budget. What do we need? We need to know how many units of finished product we're going to produce, and that's in gallons. And then for each gallon of finished product, how many ounces of direct materials we need. So we have two different measurements here. We have finished products in gallons and we have direct materials in ounces. So we're going to convert those. All right, so let's start with our budgeted production. If you had just prepared a production budget, that's where it would come from. All right, so here we have the budgeted production given to us. And I'm just going to carry this across. Okay, and then this is going to be, we're going to add these up to get the total for the year. And our first quarter next is the 6,000. Okay, so that's our budgeted production for each of the 4 quarters and then for the year as a whole. All right, so now we need to convert the production, and this is finished product of gallons, into production needs, which is going to be how many ounces we use per gallon. So we're going to multiply this by standard number of ounces per gallon. Okay, so it tells us that every gallon of window cleaner requires 100 ounces of our finished product. All right, so we want 100 all the way across here, and this is going to give us our production needs. All right, so this is going to be a multiplication. So it's going to be the production times number of ounces. Okay, and that's the same all the way across. Put this over here also because it works for next year as well. All right. Okay, so now we have our production needs. So that's the number of ounces. Let's put here just to remind us. This is the number of ounces. Okay. All right, so remember, if you looked at a production budget, which you probably did before this, we take our total needs, and then we're going to add to that how much ending inventory we want at the end of each quarter. So let's add our budgeted ending inventory for each of these periods. All right, so our ending inventory is usually defined as a percentage of the following quarters or the following month's needs. In this case, it tells us they want 20% of the next quarter's production needs. So this is going to be equal to 0.2 times our following quarter's production needs. And we can carry that across until we get to the fourth quarter. All right. And in the fourth quarter, we want to say this is going to be equal to 0.2 of the following year's first quarter production needs. Oh, I did that wrong. So equals 0.2 times the 600,000. All right. Now, our ending inventory for the year is equal to the ending inventory at the end of the fourth quarter. All right. Okay, so we're up to our budgeted ending inventory, and this is going to give us our total direct materials required. And this is all going to be added. So this is equal to the 500,000 plus the 150. And then we're going to add those all the way across. Okay. So now the last thing we're going to do is take out our beginning inventory, right? Because this is the total that we need, but then we're going to have some stuff on hand. So let's subtract our beginning inventory. All right, so at the beginning of the first quarter, our beginning inventory is equal to 80,000 ounces. They've given that information to us. Add a 0 there. Okay. Now, the beginning of the second quarter, our inventory is equal to the ending inventory of the prior quarter. All right, so the beginning inventory for second quarter is ending inventory for the first quarter. All right, so we can drag that across, and we have our beginning inventory for each of the periods. Now, our beginning inventory for the year is equal to our beginning inventory at the beginning of the first quarter. All right, and now we're going to say our budgeted purchases. And this is going to be ounces. So this is always going to be equal to this minus that all the way across. Okay, so what I like to do is, since this was a subtraction of the 3470 minus the 80, that's how we set up the formula. I like to just double check and make sure that these all add up to the same number. So let's say equals to that, plus that, plus that, plus that, just to make sure, and we get the 3390, so we know that that's a good number. All right, finally we're going to multiply this by the purchase price per ounce to get the actual cost of the budgeted purchases. Okay, so standard price per ounce is 15 cents, and that's the same all the way across, and that gives us our budgeted purchases cost. Okay, so each of these is going to be a multiplication, and we will drag that across, and that is in dollars. Okay. All right, so that is our direct materials purchases budget and the end of this video. I hope you find it helpful in your studies.